Donald Trump has fought battles with politicians, journalists, even world leaders. But one of his longest and loudest fights, it's with late-night comedians, and no one gets under his skin quite like Jimmy Kimmel. For years, Trump has blasted Kimmel on social media, pressured networks behind the scenes, and even called for a return to the good old days of Johnny Carson. What started as routine late-night roasting has turned into a full-blown obsession. But why? Why does the President of the United States spend so much energy waging war on TV hosts cracking jokes after midnight? To understand Trump's fixation, we need to go back to where it all began. The strange love story between American politics and late-night comedy. Late-night TV and politics go way back, almost 70 years. When NBC launched The Tonight Show in the 1950s, its very first host, Steve Allen, dipped his toes into political humor. But his jokes were mild, more cheeky than cutting, and usually balanced out with a bit of self-deprecation. It was the safe kind of comedy that kept politicians smiling. Then came Johnny Carson in 1962, and that changed everything. Carson turned The Tonight Show into a cultural giant, pulling in nearly 17 million viewers a night at its peak. And he didn't shy away from politics. Instead of picking sides, Carson poked fun at the absurdities of all politicians. His impersonations and sharp one-liners became the nightly lens through which millions of Americans processed the day's headlines. And the impact was real. During the Watergate scandal, Carson constantly joked about Richard Nixon. And research shows those punchlines actually contributed to Nixon's plummeting approval ratings. In some ways, late-night comedy became just as influential as the evening news. At first, late-night comedy was something politicians tolerated, but soon they realized it could actually work in their favor. In the 1960s, both John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon broke tradition by appearing on The Tonight Show as candidates. Until then, the presidency was considered too serious for late-night laughs. Their appearances cracked that wall wide open. Then came Ronald Reagan. Already an actor before politics, Reagan was at ease on Carson's couch. Their friendly rapport made late-night TV feel like an extension of the campaign trail, showing voters a softer, more relatable side of politicians. By the 1990s, this strategy hit full stride. Bill Clinton famously brought out his saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show, playing Heartbreak Hotel with the house band. That single moment helped him connect with younger audiences and energized Black voters. After that, it became almost a rite of passage. George W. Bush read off one of David Letterman's top 10 lists, and Barack Obama made history as the first sitting president to appear on a late-night show when he joined Jay Leno in 2009. Late night wasn't just comedy anymore. It was a stage for politicians to sell their image. By the mid-1990s, late night took on a sharper edge. Shows like The Daily Show and Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher didn't just poke fun at politics. They dissected it, often with a clear partisan slant. Presidents, from Clinton to Obama, mostly rolled with the punches. The jokes could sting, but they treated it as part of the job. Being roasted on TV was practically a presidential tradition by then. But this new era of more pointed, sometimes brutal comedy also laid the groundwork for something else. It set the stage for Donald Trump, a man who wouldn't just laugh off late-night punchlines, but would turn them into an all-out war. Long before Donald Trump set foot in the White House, he was already late-night comedy gold. His high-profile divorces, messy business bankruptcies, and eventual reinvention as a reality TV star on The Apprentice made him an easy target for monologues and punchlines. By the time he ran for president in 2016, Trump wasn't just a candidate. He was already a character, one that audiences had been laughing at for decades. His most infamous late-night moment came on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, when Fallon playfully mussed Trump's hair. Critics argued that silly gesture humanized Trump, making him seem less threatening, and Fallon later admitted he regretted helping to normalize Trump's image. But once Trump actually became president, everything changed. The guest who once thrived on late-night attention suddenly turned into its harshest critic. What had once been a stage for self-promotion became, in Trump's eyes, a nightly firing squad. Trump's biggest late-night enemy? Jimmy Kimmel. And the grudge goes back years. In 2015, when Trump was still just a candidate, he was booked for Jimmy Kimmel Live but backed out at the last minute. Since then, Kimmel has kept Trump and the MAGA movement firmly in his comedic crosshairs. Night after night, Kimmel roasted Trump's policies, his rhetoric, and even his thin skin. Behind the scenes, reports say Trump's administration pressured ABC and its parent company Disney to tone Kimmel down. But instead of pulling back, Kimmel doubled down, especially when he hosted the Oscars, where Trump was often a prime target. Trump's response? A full-blown campaign of complaints, blasting Kimmel on social media and even romanticizing the good old days of Johnny Carson. The irony, of course, is that Carson's been dead for 2 decades, and even he believed entertainers shouldn't avoid politics entirely. For Trump, though, Kimmel wasn't just a comedian. He became a symbol of late-night TV's refusal to bend. The Trump-Kimmel feud hit a boiling point recently when ABC abruptly suspended Kimmel after his on-air remarks about the killing of Charlie Kirk. The move sparked outrage, with critics accusing Disney and ABC of caving to political pressure, and Kimmel wasn't the only one caught in the crossfire. Over at CBS, Stephen Colbert, another relentless Trump critic, saw his Late Show suddenly canceled. Executives called it a financial decision in a struggling late-night market. But many saw it as something deeper, a calculated move tied to Paramount's billion-dollar merger plans, where keeping Trump's allies happy made good business sense. Meanwhile, conservative-leaning companies like Nexstar, which already own a huge number of ABC affiliates, have been pushing for their own mega mergers. With Trump back in power, those ambitions suddenly look a lot more realistic. In short, late night isn't just battling Trump's thin skin, it's also fighting the cold economics of corporate consolidation, where free speech can get sacrificed for stock prices. Today, late-night hosts have become unlikely truth-tellers, filling gaps left by a weakened and often discredited press. And Trump knows their influence. He's even threatened to yank FCC licenses from networks that spend too much time criticizing him. Decades ago, research showed Johnny Carson's nightly jokes about Watergate helped sink Nixon's approval ratings. But today, with audiences splintered across dozens of platforms, that kind of unified cultural punch is harder to land. Still, the irony speaks for itself. When Disney suspended Kimmel, their stock price tumbled and subscribers fled, proving audiences aren't blind to corporate kowtowing. Meanwhile, Fallon, Jon Stewart, and Colbert all responded with tongue-in-cheek monologues pretending to bow to Trump. Satirical obedience meant to highlight just how authoritarian the moment felt. Late night may no longer command 17 million viewers a night, but it's still a mirror, and Trump doesn't like the reflection. At the end of the day, Donald Trump sees late-night comedy as more than just jokes. It's a threat. These shows shape public perception, hold leaders accountable, and sometimes hit harder than traditional news. Unlike past presidents, Trump takes the laughs personally, fighting back aggressively and never letting a punchline slide. But late-night hosts continue to push back, taking risks to keep comedy alive as America's unofficial political mirror. If you love this deep dive into Trump, Kimmel, and the power of late night, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Papaya Room, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on more celebrity news.